is Leonardo DiCaprio.
It is Leonardo.
He's breaking up with you when you turn 25, though.
I'm sure. I have another solid 4 years, though. Like, that could be
that could be a good
I could
solid.
make that happen in 4 years.
We all knew Leonardo DiCaprio for his string of much younger girlfriends. We even joked about it, but no one expected the story to take such a dark turn. What's now coming to light could mark the beginning of Leonardo's tragic fate, the myth, the meme, the man. Before we dive into the latest dirt on the actor, let's take a few steps back to gain some perspective. The actor was trending after a chart revealed he leaves all his girlfriends as soon as they hit 25. However, this truth only led to more scrutiny, which would eventually expose an even darker secret. First, let's start with the chart that broke the internet, a simple infographic that somehow managed to capture one of Hollywood's most uncomfortable open secrets in a way that was impossible to ignore. It showed Leonardo DiCaprio's age climbing steadily upward, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, while his girlfriend's ages remained frozen in time, plateauing just below the 25-year mark, like some kind of bizarre mathematical constant.
So I don't know if you guys heard, Leonardo DiCaprio recently broke up with his most recent girlfriend, Camila Morrone. And there's a trend. He seems to never date a woman past 25. So if you see there at the bottom, he broke up with Bar Raffaele when she turned 25. He broke up with Kelly Rohrbach, broke up with Nina Agdal, and now, recently, he broke up with Camila when I think she turned 25.
The graph, originally posted to Reddit by user Trust Little Brother in 2019, became more than just a viral moment. It became a cultural phenomenon that forced us to confront a question we'd been dancing around for decades. What exactly is going on with Leonardo DiCaprio's dating life, and why does it make so many of us deeply uncomfortable? At 50 years old as of November 2024, Leonardo DiCaprio stands as one of the most accomplished actors of his generation. He's the man who conquered the world with Titanic, who's worked with Scorsese more times than most actors work with any director, who finally won that Oscar everyone joked about for years. He's an environmental activist whose foundation has raised over $100 million for conservation efforts. He's a producer, a philanthropist, and a Hollywood icon. And yet, when his name comes up in conversation these days, it's not his filmography that dominates the discussion. It's what the internet has dubbed Leo's Law, the seemingly unbreakable rule that his romantic relationships rarely, if ever, extend beyond a partner's 25th birthday. Let's talk about the numbers, because the numbers are staggering in their consistency. When DiCaprio was 25 years old, fresh off the unprecedented global phenomenon that was Titanic, he began dating supermodel Gisele Bündchen, who was between 18 and 20 years old. That relationship lasted until 2005, ending shortly after Bündchen turned 25. Then came Bar Raffaele, who was 18 when they started dating. DiCaprio was 30. That on-again, off-again relationship lasted until 2010, with the final split occurring when Raffaele was, you guessed it, 25 years old.
And now it's like, okay, dude, like, why are you constantly searching for women who are 25 and under? I mean, sure, maybe you guys might have a connection, but I'm sure you may be able to connect with women who are closer to your age.
The pattern continued with almost mechanical precision. In 2013, when DiCaprio was 38, he dated German model Toni Garn, who was 20. That relationship ended at her 21st birthday. In 2016, at age 39, he dated Nina Agdal, who was 21. They split just before her 25th birthday. There was a brief relationship with Kelly Rohrbach in 2015, who was 25 when they got together, and they ended things before she turned 26. But perhaps the most discussed relationship was with Camila Morrone, who was 20 when they began dating in 2017. DiCaprio was 43. It was his longest recent relationship, lasting 5 years, with many speculating this might finally be the one that broke the pattern. Industry insiders whispered about possible engagement plans. Morrone herself addressed the age gap in interviews, defending their relationship as genuine and based on mutual respect. And then, in 2022, they broke up. Camila Morrone had just turned 25. The consistency is so remarkable that it's moved beyond tabloid fodder into the realm of statistical curiosity. We're not talking about a preference for younger women that many wealthy, successful men exhibit. We're talking about a pattern so precise, so unwavering, that it has spawned countless memes, think pieces, academic discussions, and even viral tweets from legendary singer Dionne Warwick, who in 2022 simply wrote, "I just heard about Leonardo DiCaprio's 25-year rule, his loss." What makes DiCaprio's pattern particularly striking isn't just the age of his partners, it's the ceiling. If he simply had a preference for women in their 20s, that would be one thing. Plenty of older men do. But the 25-year-old cutoff is so specific, so consistent, that it suggests something more deliberate. It's not that he's attracted to youth in general, it's that there's something about that specific age that matters to him. And that specificity is what has turned casual observation into cultural critique. So what's going on here? Why would one of the world's most eligible bachelors, a man who could theoretically date anyone he wanted, consistently choose partners who are decades younger than him, only to end things at such a precise moment? The answers that have been proposed range from the psychological to the cultural, from the sympathetic to the damning. And as we'll see, understanding Leonardo DiCaprio's dating patterns might tell us as much about Hollywood, fame, and modern masculinity as it does about the man himself. Some experts point to what they call emotional arrest from fame. DiCaprio became a global superstar at 23 years old with Titanic, dating women around that age during what was arguably the most intense moment of his life. Reputation manager Eric Schiffer told Yahoo that many child stars remain emotionally stuck at their breakout age, leading DiCaprio to seek partners who evoke that transformative era. In this interpretation, DiCaprio isn't predatory or calculating. He's trapped, frozen in time at the moment when his life changed forever, perpetually seeking to recreate the emotional landscape of his youth. But others offer a far less charitable interpretation. Relationship expert Jenny Schuyler, PhD, told She Knows that older men dating much younger women often seek vulnerable, less powerful partners for control, calling it a major red flag in a patriarchal culture where women face ageism. In this reading, the pattern isn't about emotional stunting, it's about power dynamics. A 20-year-old dating a 45-year-old isn't just at a different life stage, she's at a fundamental disadvantage in terms of life experience, financial resources, industry connections, and social capital. The relationship, however consensual, is inherently unequal. Interestingly, sources close to DiCaprio have claimed he's really bothered by the jokes and scrutiny, insisting he seeks something real and mature, but gets unfairly linked to young women at events. If true, this adds another layer of complexity. Is he genuinely seeking meaningful connections, but finding himself drawn again and again to the same dynamic? Is he more sinned against than sinning, a victim of his own psychological patterns and an industry that normalizes vast age gaps? Or is this defensive posturing from someone who knows his behavior doesn't look good but doesn't want to change it? The truth, as with most things, probably lies somewhere in between. But before we can make that judgment, we need to look at how the public has reacted, because the backlash hasn't just been about DiCaprio's personal choices, it's become a referendum on power, age, gender, and what we're willing to accept from our heroes, the cost of the pattern, career, image, and legacy. Here's a question that might seem to have an obvious answer. Has Leonardo DiCaprio's dating pattern affected his career? The immediate response might be, of course not. He's still Leonardo DiCaprio, still making movies with Scorsese and Tarantino, still getting Oscar nominations. But look closer, and the picture becomes more complicated. The cost of his behavior might not be measured in roles turned down or projects cancelled, but in something more subtle and potentially more significant. The slow erosion of his cultural capital, his transformation from beloved icon to problematic figure, his journey from Jack Dawson to Punchline. Let's start with the facts. DiCaprio's box office power has declined significantly from his peak. Titanic grossed $2.26 billion in 1997, which adjusts to roughly $4 billion in today's dollars. Inception, in 2010, made $837 million, $1.1 billion adjusted. The Revenant, which finally won him that Oscar in 2015, made $533 million, $650 million adjusted. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 2019 made $374 million, $450 million adjusted. Killers of the Flower Moon in 2023 made only $158 million theatrically, though it found success on Apple TV+. Now, to be fair, these declining numbers reflect broader changes in the film industry, the rise of streaming, the pandemic's impact on theatrical distribution, and the general fragmentation of audience attention. It's not just DiCaprio, it's everyone. Even major stars don't reliably draw audiences to theaters anymore. But there's something else happening here too, something reflected in YouGov's ranking of DiCaprio as only the 71st most popular contemporary actor and 86th all-time as of October 2025, a significant drop from his peak in the 1990s and 2000s, when he regularly topped such lists. The disconnect between critical acclaim and popular enthusiasm is revealing. DiCaprio's recent work has been prestigious, working with Scorsese, Tarantino, and Paul Thomas Anderson, three of cinema's most respected directors. His performances remain strong. His latest film, One Battle After Another, debuted at 98% on Rotten Tomatoes in September 2025, with critics calling it potentially supposedly the film of the decade, but it underperformed commercially, making only around $100 million on a $175 million budget as of October 2025, and audience scores sit at just 72% despite the critical raves. What accounts for this disconnect? Part of it is surely the dating controversy. It's hard to buy DiCaprio as a romantic lead when his real-life romantic choices have become such a source of mockery and criticism. A 2023 Vulture piece noted that audiences cringed at his love scenes with Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon, not because the acting was bad, but because his real-life persona overshadowed the character. When you know the actor exclusively dates women under 25, it's hard to lose yourself in a story where he's supposedly madly in love with someone closer to his actual age. But the dating pattern is just part of a larger image problem. DiCaprio has increasingly come across as out of touch, part of an elite Hollywood bubble that's disconnected from regular people's lives and concerns. His hiding his face at Jeff Bezos' $50 million wedding in June 2025 became a viral moment, with the images spawning endless, embarrassed billionaire buddy jokes. His ties to the 1MDB scandal, including having to return a $9 million Basquiat painting and testify in a 2023 trial, raised questions about the company he keeps. In July 2025, his co-financing of a luxury Tel Aviv hotel project amid the Gaza conflict sparked calls for boycotts, with progressive fans calling the investment tone-deaf. His political endorsement of Kamala Harris in October 2024, while consistent with his liberal activism, further polarized audiences, alienating conservative viewers who might otherwise enjoy his films. Perhaps most damagingly, there's the climate activism hypocrisy. DiCaprio has positioned himself as an environmental crusader, using his platform to advocate for urgent action on climate change. But reports of his private jet use and carbon footprint, including allegations of producing 8,000 tons of CO2 in 2016, have made him an easy target for accusations of rules for thee, but not for me hypocrisy. Viral X posts in 2025 mocked Leo saves the planet, but not women over 25. A 2023 Guardian article noted that his climate activism is harder to take seriously when memes about his dating life dominate coverage. This is a real problem for someone who's tried to build a second career as an environmental advocate. When you're primarily known for your relationship patterns rather than your activism, when jokes about your love life get more engagement than your speeches at climate conferences, you've lost control of your own narrative. And yet, despite all this, DiCaprio's career continues. He still gets to work with the directors he wants to work with. Martin Scorsese praised DiCaprio's maturity as a producer in a 2024 Variety interview, completely ignoring the personal controversies. His upcoming projects include another collaboration with Paul Thomas Anderson, signaling that within the industry, at least, his reputation remains intact. This highlights a crucial truth about power in Hollywood. As long as you're making prestige films that could win awards, as long as you're bringing in financing and working with respected directors, as long as you're not actually accused of anything criminal, you can weather almost any amount of public criticism. The industry will protect you. Your peers will defend you, or at least stay silent. The machine keeps running, but the cost shows up in other ways. DiCaprio's output has slowed dramatically. Only 3 films since 2020, compared to actors like Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, who maintain busier schedules. In an August 2025 Esquire interview, DiCaprio said turning 50 made him not want to waste time, expressing regret about passing on films like Boogie Nights. This suggests a man who's become more cautious, more selective, perhaps more aware that his choices matter in ways they didn't before. The question of legacy looms large. When people remember Leonardo DiCaprio 50 years from now, what will they remember? Will it be Jack Dawson and Rose? Will it be his collaboration with Scorsese across multiple masterpieces? Will it be his environmental activism? Or will it be the memes, the graphs, the jokes about his inability to date women over 25? The thing is, Leonardo DiCaprio isn't the only one who has a track record of dating younger women in Hollywood, as you'll see shortly. Hollywood's Age Gap Hall of Fame. If you think Leonardo DiCaprio's dating pattern is unique, think again. Scratch the surface of Hollywood relationships, and you'll find a disturbing trend. Powerful older men consistently dating women young enough to be their daughters, sometimes even their granddaughters. What makes DiCaprio's case stand out is the precision of his pattern, the memorable nature of his 25-year cutoff. But the broader phenomenon, that's everywhere in Hollywood, accepted as normal, even celebrated in some circles. Let's take a tour through Hollywood's age gap relationships and see just how common this pattern really is, and why some men face backlash while others skate by almost entirely. Let's start with the legends, the men whose names command instant respect in Hollywood, but whose personal lives tell a very different story. Robert De Niro, at 81 years old, has been dating Tiffany Chen since 2021, when he was 78, and she was around 45, a 33-year age gap. Now, before we go further, let's acknowledge that 45 is not 25. Chen is a mature woman with her own career and life experience, but De Niro's pattern extends beyond this relationship. He was previously married to Grace Hightower from 1997 to 2018, a relationship that also involved a 20-year age gap. And here's where it gets truly remarkable. De Niro welcomed a child with Chen in 2023 at age 79. The public reaction to De Niro has been fascinating. He's been labeled creepy and predatory on social media, with ex-posts highlighting double standards compared to older women like Tracy Ellis Ross. A 2025 Joe Budden podcast clip discussed how De Niro faces criticism while older women dating younger men are celebrated, yet his career completely unaffected. He continued starring in Zero Day, a 2025 Netflix series, and was praised for his performance in Killers of the Flower Moon in 2023. The backlash is mostly confined to online memes and social media discussions. No boycotts, no lost roles, no real consequences. Then there's Al Pacino, another legend who's taken the age gap thing to even more extreme levels. At 85 years old, Pacino has been dating Noor Al-Fallah since 2021. She was 29 when they got together, a staggering 53-year age gap. Let that sink in for a moment. 53 years. When Pacino was starring in The Godfather in 1972, Al-Fallah's parents probably weren't even born yet. Pacino welcomed a son, Roman, with Al-Fallah in 2023 at age 83. Internet outrage erupted over what people called geriatric fatherhood and exploitation fears, with 2023 X threads garnering over 10,000 likes calling it embarrassing and comparing Pacino to DiCaprio. Feminists decried it as seeking a trophy youth. But again, the professional impact, zero. Pacino secured roles in Knox Goes Away in 2024 and Modi in 2025. The public conversation shifted from his dating life to concerns about his health and ability to be a present father at his age. The age gap itself became almost secondary to the practical questions about octogenarian parenting. But here's where it gets interesting. Not all age gap relationships in Hollywood involve men in their 70s and 80s. Some involve younger men whose patterns mirror DiCaprio's more closely, and the public reactions reveal a lot about what we find acceptable and what crosses the line. Take Jake Gyllenhaal. He's 44. Now, not exactly a young man, but his most controversial relationship happened years ago. In 2009, when Gyllenhaal was 29, he dated Taylor Swift, who was just 19, a 10-year age gap. At the time, it raised some eyebrows, but it wasn't a major scandal. Fast forward to 2021, when Swift re-recorded her Red album, and the song Dear John, originally about John Mayer, reignited discussions about age gaps and power dynamics in her past relationships. Suddenly, that relationship with Gyllenhaal was being re-examined through a not Me Too lens. By 2025, ex-posts with over 1,000 likes were linking Gyllenhaal to DiCaprio as serial daters of 20-somethings. Critics pointed to emotional immaturity claims in Swift's lyrics about their relationship, but Gyllenhaal's current relationship is also notable. He's been with Jean Cadieux since 2018, and she was 22 when they got together while he was 38, a 16-year age gap. So we're looking at a pattern here, not just one questionable relationship. The professional impact on Gyllenhaal, slight PR hit during the Swift tour drama in 2023-2024, but he rebounded with the Roadhouse remake in 2024, which grossed over $1 billion on Prime. No lost roles, no boycotts. His career continues uninterrupted, even as social media continues to dissect his relationship history. Speaking of Swift's exes, we can't ignore John Mayer. He's 47 now, and his pattern of dating younger women has been well documented over the years. His relationship with Taylor Swift in 2009, when she was 19 and he was 32, a 13-year gap, became infamous after she released Dear John. That song essentially branded him as emotionally manipulative, and the age gap made it all feel predatory in retrospect. By 2023-2025, X-Discourse, with over 5,000 engagements, was reviving groomer labels for Mayer, tying him to DiCaprio memes. Experts noted the vulnerability of young pop stars in relationships with older men in the industry. The impact on Mayer's career: his nice guy image was tarnished, and he shifted focus to podcasting with John Mayer at Large in 2025. His music career remains steady, but less mainstream than it once was. Still, no cancellations, no exile from the industry. Now let's talk about someone who might surprise you: Tobey Maguire. Yes, the wholesome Spider-Man himself. At 49, Maguire has been linked to Lily Chi since 2023, when he was 48 and she was 20, a 28-year age gap. Before his divorce from Jennifer Meyer, Maguire didn't have a reputation for this kind of behavior, but following his split, he's been linked to younger models, establishing a post-divorce pattern. 2024-2025 media coverage from outlets like Hindustan Times grouped Maguire with DiCaprio as notorious for dating women women in their 20s. X Backlash with over 2,000 likes called it depressing given his Spider-Man legacy. Photos of Maguire vacationing with DiCaprio amplified the scrutiny as if they were enablers of each other's behavior, but Maguire's career completely insulated by his low public profile. He produced Babylon in 2022 and starred in Death on the Nile in 2022. No evident fallout. He focuses on producing family films and stays largely out of the spotlight, which seems to protect him from the worst of the backlash. And then there's the extreme case, the one that actually did result in significant career damage: Woody Allen. At 89, Allen has been married to Soon-Yi Previn since 1997. She was 22 when they married. He was 62, a 35-year age gap. But the controversy goes far beyond the age gap itself. Previn was the adopted daughter of Allen's ex-partner Mia Farrow, adding accusations of grooming due to their family connection. The Me Too revival from 2018 to 2025 led to cancel campaigns against Allen. Documentaries like Allen vs. Farrow in 2021 fueled a predator narrative. And this is where we see actual career consequences. Allen lost his Amazon deal in 2018 and essentially went into European exile. His 2023 film Coup de Chance flopped. Actors like Timothée Chalamet donated their salaries from Allen films to charity and publicly distanced themselves. This represents the worst impact among all of DiCaprio's peers. Actual boycotts, lost opportunities, industry exile. But Allen's case is complicated by more than just the age gap and family dynamics. There are also allegations of sexual abuse involving another of Farrow's adopted daughters, Dylan Farrow, which Allen has consistently denied, but which have never been fully resolved in the public consciousness. So it's difficult to separate the career damage from the age gap relationship versus the damage from these other allegations. For a more positive comparison, let's look at George Clooney. At 64, Clooney has been married to Amal Clooney since 2014. She was 36 when they married. He was 53, a 17-year age gap. Earlier in his life, Clooney dated models like Lisa Snowden, with age gaps around 16 years. But here's the thing, Clooney faces much milder scrutiny than DiCaprio or the others we've discussed. Why? 2023-2025 articles from outlets like Us Weekly note the May-December label, but praise them as a power couple. X posts defend Clooney versus DiCaprio, citing Clooney's one-and-done marriage rather than a pattern of cycling through young women. The impact on Clooney's career? None whatsoever. His status was actually elevated. He directed The Boys in the Boat in 2023 and continues his humanitarian work. The age gap rarely dominates the narrative about him and Amal. They're seen as equals, both accomplished, both respected in their fields, both bringing something significant to the relationship beyond youth and beauty. X discussions from 2024-2025 frequently highlight this hypocrisy. Older men are creepy, while women are empowered. And there's truth to the criticism of the double standard. If we're going to scrutinize age gaps, shouldn't we scrutinize all of them? But there's also a deeper truth. Context matters. Women have historically been valued primarily for youth and beauty, with their worth declining as they age. Men have been valued for power and resources, with their attractiveness actually increasing with age and success. An older woman dating a younger man subverts that traditional power dynamic. An older man dating a younger woman reinforces it. That's not to say older men should never date younger women, but it does explain why the reactions are so different.
I feel like at some point, shouldn't your taste grow up with you in a way? Like you're not looking for that kind of thing in a woman?
I also feel like if like the rumor is true, if he is breaking up with them or the relationship's ending so that they can find their families, like that just tells you how serious the dating is.
And until the industry itself changes, until there are actual consequences for this behavior beyond online mockery and memes, the pattern will continue. New young actors will become famous, will gain power and wealth, and will likely follow in the footsteps of those who came before them. The cycle continues, generation after generation, because Hollywood protects its own, especially when those being protected are men who make money and win awards. The question isn't whether Leonardo DiCaprio will change his dating habits. The question is whether Hollywood will. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.